we are picking the edges. So Kruskal picks the edges in that order, but since it's a randomized graph, it has the potential to pick those edges in random order, right?
So it
With
could potentially get disjoint and then link up later.
exactly, it can
Okay.
eventually get disjoint and get and can be linked up later. Now, remember that in our previous examples, how did we sort of detect a cycle? If both of those vertices, when adding an edge, if both of those vertices were visited, we said that we are, since it was an iteratively growing algorithm from a particular location, we said that if we connect to two vertices that are already explored, then we are not going to connect it because that would lead to a cycle. But in this scenario, both C and F have been visited, but connecting C and F is necessary, but that does not create a cycle, right? So this poses some set of problems that we need to take care of in case of Kruskal's algorithm. So we would see how we can take care of this set of algorithms. But yes, you're right, sir. It would eventually give you a single graph that does not have cycles and has all the vertices connected. Okay. So let's take an example working algorithm, working dry run of what Kruskal would do. We already should understand this, but okay. So we have this set of edges here, A to C, C to B, and so on. And we have these edge weights where B to C is 1, C to D is 2, B to D is 2 again, C to F is 3, and so on. So given this set of edges, we first need to sort these edges in ascending order. That gives us this particular list of edges in ascending order. B to C, then C to D, then B to D, and so on, where B to C has the lowest edge cost. Now, Kruskal just picks the lowest possible cost edge, that is B to C. Fine, I have this. Then it picks C to D, again, fine, that is the lowest cost and does not create a cycle. Then it looks at B to D. Now, looking at B to D, we see that if we add this B to D here, we would create a cycle. So we ignore B to D. The next one in line is C to F. Well, fine, does not create a cycle. Keep on adding. Next one in line is D to F. Again, creates a cycle. We ignore this. Next comes E to F. That is fine. Add it. Next comes A to D. That is fine. No cycle yet. Connected. A to B, can't. C to E, can't. And A to C can't as well, because all of those other three edges create cycles. So that is how Kruskal basically solves this particular problem of minimum spanning trees. Okay. So in this particular graph, the minimum spanning tree, this is not the same graph as earlier. This particular graph, the minimum spanning tree ends up having a cost of 40. Okay. So the correctness of Kruskal's method depends upon a property of graphs, that is the cut property of a graph. That basically also is something that Vamsi pointed out to, that if we replace two particular edges of the same weight, we still end up having a minimum spanning tree. So that also follows from the cut property as well, and that is something that the cut property depends on. Check the questions real quick. Okay. So now let's talk about the cut property. So before we begin with that, let's first properly define what a tree is. So a tree is any undirected graph that is connected acyclic, and that is useful because in their simple data structure, they are able to find you connectivity between multiple members or multiple vertices. So you can think about a tree. So you can think about a general undirected connected graph as your entire internet service provider system. Routers are connected everywhere. Every router is connected to every other router, not every other router, but the closest routers, and as many routers as possible. And then essentially, let's say that you are trying to access a particular page. Let's say that you're trying to access Google's homepage. In that scenario, you would need to find a path to Google that has the minimum possible cost. Now, one thing that a tree is able to tell you is, given this graph, this is the lowest cost of paths that you should follow, or in that router scenario, you can say that this is the most stable path that you can follow in order to reach a particular location. However, if that path fails, we can pick other edges in the graph, but a tree would basically provide the backbone of your graph, where those set of edges connecting all vertices are basically the lowest something or the optimized version of something that is connecting this entire graph, right? So a tree has, if a tree has n nodes, goes to show if it cannot have cycles. So a tree with 2 vertices can only have 1 edge between them. A tree with 3 vertices would have 2 edges between them. 4 vertices would have 3 edges between them. So a tree with n nodes can only have n-1 edges between them. And that also means that there cannot be a cycle between any 2 vertices. Any connected graph, be it whatever graph, if the number of edges in that graph is v-1 or the number of vertices -1, it's a tree. And again, that also goes into another property, that an undirected graph is a tree if and only if there is a unique path between any pair of vertices. You cannot have more than one a path to 2 vertices. Essentially, all of those 3 things together say the same thing. A tree cannot have cycles. It's just a general graph that connects every other vertex. Okay. So that was a tree. And now let's look at what the cut property states in general. So suppose that we have edges. Well, that is a bit more complicated. So let's just begin by saying something. Let's see. Okay. So remember that Kruskal is picking all of those edges randomly. So potentially there can be a scenario where you have 2 proper trees that are disjoint at the moment. So cut property says that you can add one edge or the other edge as long as there is no other path connecting between these 2 set of vertices. So here we have 2 set of disjoint trees, and we are wondering whether we should add the edge E or whether we should add the edge E prime. So cut property says as long as there is no other edge connecting between these 2 cuts. So this is what we call a cut that has 2 separate set of vertices. As long as we have no edges between these 2 cuts, if we pick the edge with the lowest possible cost, that is either E or E prime, in that particular scenario, it would still, this entire new graph would also be a minimum spanning tree. So that is what cut property is actually trying to explain. So it says that suppose we have edges X that are part of some particular minimum spanning tree, and assume that for this example, these set of edges are part of some particular minimum spanning tree. In that scenario, X does not cross between S and V minus S. So I'm going to use this. Okay. You know what? Give me a second. So I'll come back to those set of vertices, those set of slides in a second. So let's say that we have these set of vertices, that is this set of edges, that is X, right? It also says that in this entirety of X edges, there is no edge that connects from this set of this tree, that is S, and this particular tree, that is all the vertices other than S, that is V minus S. So X is this set of edges here, right? So if we have X as those set of edges, and those set of edges basically are part of some subset of nodes S, and we have V minus S as the other set of nodes. And if E is the lightest minimum edge across this partition, then if we add E to this set of edges in X, then this is also going to be a minimum spanning tree. So a cut is basically, so let's define a cut. So a cut essentially is any partition of vertices where we have 2 set of vertices from the graph. We have the first set S, we have the other set V minus S, and there are no, so a cut means that there are no connections between these 2 set of vertices. So this S can have connectivity inside its own. This V minus S set of edges can have connectivity inside its own, but there are no cross connections. So what this property basically tries to say is that it is always safe to add the lightest edge across any cut as long as there are no edges connecting between those two cuts, right? So what it means by saying safe is it's saying that it is still going to be a tree or a minimum spanning tree. So we can see from here that let's say that this particular edge, these two particular edges were not here. As long as we pick the edge that has the lowest cost, it is still going to be a tree because the number of vertices and the number of edges are still okay. And if it is the lightest edge, then that particular edge, that adding that particular edge would still result in a minimum spanning tree. So we have two things to prove here. The first thing is, given these two disjoint sets, connecting them with an edge results in a tree. That is the first thing. The second thing that we need to prove here is, given these two disjoint sets, if we add the edge that has the least cost in order to connect them, that ends up being the minimum spanning tree as well for this entire graph, right? So let's look at the basic definition of a tree. That is, if we have V vertices, we can only have V minus 1 edges. Okay,
so that's really just saying, okay, you have two separate trees, and if you just add one, if you have two completely separate trees and you just add one edge, there's no way that you can create a cycle, is all it's saying, right?
Yes, that is all it's saying. It says it in a roundabout way, but that is all it's saying. Yes.
Which makes sense, because if you have this thing over here that's doing its own thing, and this other thing over here that's completely doing its own thing, and you just add one edge,
there cannot be a cycle between the two because there is no other edge connecting them.
Right, like it's like adding a bridge between two countries, and there's a river between them. Yep. You only have one edge going between the two countries.
So by definition, we cannot have a cycle. So So that is basically the cut property, and Kruskal actually relies on this thing because remember that Kruskal, as we looked at before, Kruskal is picking those random edges, right? So this essentially means that we would have multiple disjoint trees, and we are now wondering whether to add this particular edge to this list, and whether that would create a cycle or not. So that is why Kruskal depends upon this property in order to figure out which edges to pick. Right. Okay. So yes, the tree part is fairly self-explanatory. So yeah, never mind, don't mention it. So essentially, let's look at this particular S tree here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vertices here. So by definition, we should have 7 edges. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So that's a tree. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges. That's a tree as well. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 8 plus 6. That gives me 14. So in total, we have 14 vertices. And in this tree here, we have 7 edges. In this tree here, we have 5 edges. That gives us a total of 12 edges in total. Now, if we